Hey, welcome to episode 87 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, TuneIn Radio, Audible. Anywhere you get your podcast, you could find it. And of course, you could tune in for the video on YouTube. Remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on the notifications button. How I do? Well, again, right into the thing, it's no time for no set of preamble, because you know 25 different tabs open on this computer here. And I intend to talk about all. Salute to everybody who is calling and remember all the thing I forget to talk about. My memory is not great. Sometimes I have the notes in front of me and it don't always go down as planned, but I want to make sure that I talk about this because when you're bad, talk people, and then the people come good. You must be big enough to come back and say, you know what I mean? So I want to go back to the article I read last week from The Guardian. This is from Richard Khan. Extempo and Calypso Monarch competitions cancelled. It said this year's Taste of Carnival has no doubt gone sour for many as the Calypso and Extempo competitions will no longer be in the showcase. The news was confirmed by TUCO and NCC after the emergency meeting. It said that the 1.5 million allocated was insufficient to put on both shows. We talked about this last week, right? They said the 1.5 million was insufficient to host both the National Calypso Monarch and Extempo Monarch final, the Calypso tents, paying the accompanying band and suppliers. Further, 1.3 million was already allocated to the various Calypso tents through Trinidad and Tobago to host their shows, which left TUCO with 200,000, which was impractical to host such competitions, including of prize money. It's unreasonable, right? As much as I knocking them and saying, but it's unreasonable. 1.5 million, it will be hard to do all the things that they're talking about on this list here. Therefore, in the interest of Calypso membership, the General Council thought it prudent to defer the competitions to 2023 for a bigger and grander production. Let me just say this. Deferral, I think, very, very understandable given the circumstances that we're under in the country, although we could have started planning from last year, right? But we're done here already. But I'm not understanding why the deferral is still 2023, you know what I mean? We could have still do something this year. It's looking like, I was watching the press conference this week and beaches open back fully. No more restrictions on beach and river and so on. What's happened? It seems as though we gung-ho to get children back in schools, you know what I mean? Everything happening. All indications, and I don't want to say this again for the 100th time and be wrong for the 100th time, but it's looking like if we're going to a point where it's not going to have any more lockdowns and we learn to live with this pandemic and get out of it. We're seeing that in many, many countries. And if it's anything we show about Trinidad, once you see it abroad, you will start seeing it happening here more and more, right? So I was wondering why, if there's a monarch competition, feel however you want about competitions, right? Maybe there's a discussion we're going to have here one day, how we feel about competitions in the art form. But it's part of what we do, it's part of the culture, it's a staple for all of us, right? I was wondering why if Randall Mitchell talking about some kind of festivity or something in August time, why TUCO would just say 2023, the deferral is on, why do just say until August? But anyway, TUCO sincerely apologized for the unavoidable inconvenience caused to the 70 plus registrants for the National Calypso Monarch and Extempo Monarch competitions and directs that the zonal officers be contacted for a refund of the entry fee. Okay. Instead, it said changes will be made to TUCO's involvement in safe. They went on to say more stuff, right? No, firstly, the scheduled Calypso Fiesta carded for 2 p.m. on Sunday 20th at Naparima Bowl in San Fernando will take the form of a concert showdown featuring Calypsonians from Trinidad and Tobago. I want to salute the NCC and TUCO for putting on what I saw to be a great show on Sunday. That show, it was well done. Now, I want to debunk some things one time, right? Where even I might have said it here, where, you know, the repetitiveness of some of the calypsos, the music behind it, the topics. I want to say this, right? The idea that Calypso and Kaiso dying or going anywhere, I think is a false premise. Because when you go through the Calypsos, there are a little bit of a mix between veterans, if you want to call it. There are plenty of veterans with new songs, veterans singing their old songs, and youths coming with new songs. And I find the show was overall impressive. That was done in Naparima Bowl. A different version of a show, of course, because I see they had their own kind of version of pods because there's 3 seats together at a time. I know if you go with 4 people, what would be the scene? But with Trinis, we innovative, right? We could figure out how to do that. But at least what you could have seen on camera, it looked like a sort of chairs and triplicate, I could say it like that. and they separated enough and all them types of things. And I would assume, like with everything else, is a safe zone and you had to get vaccinated to go and all that. And as predicted, the show starts off empty, very, very empty, noticeably empty. You know what I mean? I find we should, in whatever budget we have as TUCO and NCC, and think one thing we had to try to do with events, even if the event undersubscribe, all you follow up the front now. You have to remember that some of these things built for online viewing and for TV viewership and so on, it could be good to full up the front a little bit, make the thing look like if well, I used to say bus to mean like it bus, like it bussing for me had mean like nobody ain't coming in the show. But bussing for these youths now mean it real happening. So make the thing look like it ain't bussing now, but it bussing, you know what I mean? So I know you must find a way to fill up these seats, man. Give away tickets, whatever. You must know in advance that it's not gonna sell the way it's selling. But remember that a big part of what you're putting on, you don't have any profit motive, so it's not like you're trying to make a profit out of this. We talk about this, we beat that dead horse for weeks now, right? If you're whatever side of the fence you're on with private versus public sector, you will probably stay on that side of the fence for now, so I ain't going back to that. But make the show look good for what is happening online. But I want to salute the artists involved in this show, because all of them, they understand the assignment because they was well dressed. Listen, the dressing alone, I find the dressing should be what they judge for if you're going in the final or not, if you're being honest. Judge how people dress up for this thing, because listen, when artists come out to perform, not just well dressed in terms of nice suit and thing, you know what I mean? Like a performer should look like, but also dressed for the part, you know what I mean? Dressed in terms of what they're trying to portray and the theater behind the art form and all that. They were excellent, and they had some songs that stood out too. So I can't even say nothing about the songs and things. I have some questions about it, but some of the songs that I find really stood out was Aaron Duncan came out early, hot sun hours, and do a Brother Resistance tribute. I want to salute him. You know what I mean? Because boy, imagine what he could be like 10 years from now when he had catalog and Kaiso Soak, all different kinds of music. And it was a nice start to the season down in the Southland. It's a pay tribute to a giant. And from somebody like him too, for Aaron Duncan wouldn't have known, couldn't possibly know Brother Resistance in his heyday, performing all about and things. He couldn't know it. So it shows you, even while I might criticize sometimes the generation gap and how we hand things from one group to another as we go on. You know, the griots had to create other griots, you know. But I want to say with that performance and the way he put together the song and everything, only the griots talk to the griots. You know what I mean? A handing down process is happening. A youth man by the name of Tazaya O'Connor again coming in with a song called The Leap of Faith. He basically talking about how he only perform on junior stages, and this is when he come in and perform with the big boys. And I mean, what a year to end up on the stage with the big boys, you know what I mean? To end up on the big stage, when the big stage is a small stage and the crowd is virtual and you can't see it. But I am amazed by, and maybe it's just my personal, it's personally with me, because I don't know how I would have done if I have a song that I put so much work into and perform and practice and all that, and then I had to bring out this song to an audience that not there. You can't see, no kind of response. You're looking. I find that to be personally a very, very difficult thing to do. I don't know if artists and performers have that issue at all. Maybe it's a non-issue, but for me personally, I am always impressed when I see how artists give the all. You remember my show in Winchester story a couple weeks ago? Tazaya O'Connor remind me of that a lot, because he went out there like it was, Skinner Park was full. And listen, he delivered the song, I want to say perfectly, well dressed again. If you see the band, jacket out shining, something about shiny thing and calypso is always good, you know. But I want to salute all of them. There's one that I want to play, right? But before I play that song, I want to say a special salute to the Hendrickson sisters. Diane and Sheila Hendrickson. No, we're talking about performing for not much people, right? But you know, Sheila and Henderson not Sheila and Diane perform in I don't know if the people say it's a showcase and a concert, right? But the thing that confuses me is that the showcase and the concert leading to the marsh grass. So 10 people selected, which we will get to who they select and everything. So I was a little confused as to if people there were competing and how they decided on the 10 spaces and who performing on the marsh ground. It was kind of odd, especially when some people singing new music and some people singing their hits, tried and true songs. it was a little bit confusing to me. I couldn't understand what was really, what was the end game? How are they deciding who perform? Or is it that you just have a big show on this night, and then for the match grand night, you just have a smaller version of the same show? Or were there judges? I was so confused about some of it, but maybe somebody will be able to help me answer that. But the Hendrickson sisters, if you don't know them, the daughters of the great all-rounder, the giant, who was also on the cards. Listen, I just want somebody to support me the way the Hendricksons support one another, to be honest. The way them they support one another, I want somebody to have my back like that, to support me in that way. Whatever I do it, I want somebody that's singing, back up, cheering, because Diane Hendrickson went out on the Lady Wonder, right? Went out into the crowd. Well, when I say crowd, you know what I mean, right? And I find I done intimidated by all these empty seats already, and how I go and work this stage and how I go and deliver this song. Boy, she went to the whoever was there. She went to them one by one. She involved them in her calypso, you know what I mean? The calypso was about calypso, if I'm not mistaken, you know what I mean? And she involved, no, it was about, I think it was the future of youths. I started to mix up these. But she went out and she gave people the mic and they sing a part of the song about their education. And it was impressive overall. And while she's singing, they're hearing like the backup singers almost egging on, and I'm thinking, but these backup singers working extra time. Only when they pan back to the backup singers, you know, it's a fourth mic they add. Because the sister Ryder, which she's singing backup. Ever since, you know, they always support each other to the max. You had to respect that. And a great performance by her. And while on Sherland too, right? I want to say salute to the host of this event. Because as an artist, you're coming out and you're staying for what, 20 minutes or half hour? It couldn't be half hour, right? It has to be 10, 15 minutes each artist stay for. Because the max people do was 2-3 songs. The Scrunters, the Johnny Kings, and them do a few songs, right? They couldn't be out there for more than 15 minutes. So you just had to deal with them empty chairs, and then you go. Remember that the hosts, or the MCs, I should say, they had to come out there every time and try to engage this non-crowd and this online crowd. It's such a hard thing to do. Like, I tell you all before, I do online classes. And at this point, I have one starting at the end of March. And I realize at this point, that class is going to be a podcast. Now, I'm not even going to ask nobody to show up for the class. I basically just going to say everything I have to say about a topic non-stop. I ain't asking no questions. And send it out to everybody and let them listen to it, watch it and everything. I will record it. And if you have questions, just WhatsApp me now. Because I find it so difficult to engage, and I'm talking about 10 people on a screen with me. All of them screen off. Nobody don't share the screen so I could see if people understand and if people with me. It's so hard. They have no feedback. Sometimes when I ask a question, I tell them, when I ask a question, I ain't saying nothing till somebody answers. And sometimes I ask a question and about 5 minutes pass. And somebody say, oh, sir, we didn't hear the question. You can repeat. Because nobody ain't listening. People watching the football and think my classes is Saturday 8 to 4 and Sunday 8 to 4 for 4 weeks straight. You tell me if you could have tolerated that. So I done ready to throw in the towel here with my approach to online classes where people have to go and they want to pass and they pay to be there. You know what I mean? Significant amounts of money. And I watching these MCs who out there are well dressed again and how to engage this non-crowd and this online crowd. And I want to say that they do an excellent job. And Sherland Hendrickson was one of them people. She's a powerful prayer to start off the event. She was extremely engaging. You know, they make, it's almost like if I was backstage and I have an empty crowd, they giving me a kind of vibes to come out and to do it. I have one question about hosts though, in the context of what TUCO and NCC put on this weekend. One of my questions is, where did the comedian as a MC in a show go? When did we get to the point that we don't have, and I know knock on the existing hosts because I said they did an excellent job. But I find like the Calypso tent, because this show was a selection from, I want to say 10 tents. Selected their people to represent, right? Although a lot of the artists I see what they say was tents, everything saying unattached. I don't know, you know what I mean? But they said the tents had selected who was going to perform. So I guess each tent, like a tent clash, would select the best performers to go into the thing, right? So salute to all the tents who were involved. But the Calypso tent was a place where the comedian was an integral part of it. Think of, I want to go back to, you could say Sprangalang, rest in peace, Tommy Joseph, Rachel Price in that time, John Agitation, who are forgetting. I know I'm forgetting plenty people, but do you understand where I'm coming from? Their role in the tent was a critical part because they used to keep the show going. They used to keep the audience engaged. Sometimes they keep in the artists themselves engaged because sometimes it's a little small skit. It reminds me of Nicky Crosby and Errol Fabian and Big George. They used to keep the artists engaged. Them as a part of the artist skit. You remember when you had done the tribute to Clifford Lemon here and you hear Nicky and Errol involved in the little thing with him? I don't know. Like I personally find that element of it missing because these shows are very very long. Maybe I'll get back into this private and public sector thing because I think a part of the public sector role is to be as inclusive as possible and get as much artists a little dollar in their pocket and get the band well paid and have 5 MCs so that it could be well paid and so on. And that is our objective too, right? No knock on that. But I always feel like if these shows are too long, I could not sit there for that length of time. You're heading towards 3 hours, and that's just from what I'm able to see on TTT online. So I don't know if ads were cut out and everything was cut out of that, so that remember when you're in a venue and they're doing it for TV, you might have advertising time that is just a lull or music playing or something. I personally find, not just for me, right? I'm talking about, let me talk as a marketing person now. If I had to create a product to sell to people, and I had to consider what needs to be done for these people to be satisfied for the money that they paid. And, especially in event marketing, you want to make sure that your event was so good that this year's event could be used to sell August event or next year event or whatever it is. So when you're looking at Calypso Spectacular Review or whatever, a big part of how you're marketing yourself is on your own reputation. What is the experience you created? So when you look at bands like Yuma, Tribe, Fantasy, when them was a thing, a big part of what they focus on is the experience, because they know if the experience is really great, your patrons or your masqueraders or your customers, they will do a part of the selling for you. So this is part of the difficulty, because I saw the host talking about some people by name in the crowd. You could see, like one woman, can I say it's Miss Patsy? I want to call the woman name wrong now. At one point, the host was acknowledging a patron, what is called people who come to a show? A showgoer, for walking with her flag, and the lady was waving her flag and saying, now, this woman looking like, she has some age on her, right? She looking like, retiree kind of thing. So, if that is your demographic and that's who you're trying to get to come out, I'm not sure if a 3-hour long show where you're sitting down on them with folding white chairs, where halfway outdoors, halfway indoors, you have to adjust. If that is the audience you want to continue to appeal to, that have its issues too, but nothing wrong with appealing to any audience you pick in marketing is fine with me, right? But if that's the audience you're appealing to, I would think that you have a little bit of a difficult time getting them to come out and sit down there for that length of time. I mean, I don't want to get into the obvious. I hope all you're with me with that, right? If it is now you are trying to, because the Great Gypsy, the Great Gypsy was on the show, right? I have no opinion about that. Gypsy was on the show. Gypsy is a Calypsonian and extemporanean long before and for much longer than he has been and will be a politician or whatever he is, head of the NCC or whatever he's doing now, right? But he's, I'll laugh at Gypsy and think, but Gypsy's a giant in the culture, right? He had a song about Calypsonians, basically, like Calypso can't die. I can't remember the exact nature of the song, but he was talking about Calypsonians having to make it great, to put it in a nutshell, right? We had to make the thing great for ourselves. And being the giant he is at extempo, I ain't sure if it had a couple verses in there what Gypsy was singing. I ain't feel them verses was written, because he was responding directly to the fact that we could still put on an excellent show even though the funding's small. And I like this song. It was very, very uplifting, and it was a great. It is Gypsy. You know what to expect from Gypsy when he get on a non-political platform stage, right? You know what to expect from him. And I think it's true. And Calypso had to live on. So if it is you're looking at me, for instance, as a marketing person, I might ask myself, okay, I understand Miss Patsy and them will come out to Skinner Park and they partake in the Calypso and so on. But I kind of want to understand as well, how am I going to appeal to a younger audience? Because Miss Patsy and them ain't going to be here forever, just like us. Just like some of the people who perform on that show, we ain't going to be here forever. How is it going to evolve? You know what I mean? And when I say evolve, I'm not necessarily talking about changing the music. I'm watching dancehall having a problem now with I want to salute to a guy who I see online, right? I know I strain a little bit, right? But let's stay with me. There's a YouTube channel that I get obsessed with over the last few weeks called Teach Them. I just want to say salute to that guy who running Teach Them. Oh God, I wish I knew the guy's name, but he's a teacher, right? And apparently he's a real teacher, but he does interviews with artists. I don't even want to say old school or anything because he had Horace Andy, he had Bounty Killer, Beanie Man, Nitty Kutchi. So many artists he had on his platform. And I want to put it out there one time. I want to put it out in the atmosphere. That is what I want to do. That's what I want to do with my life. That if I had a calling, is that. And I'm figuring out how to get it done, right? I'm working on it because what he's doing there is exactly part of my purpose for doing this podcast. He's archiving. The music is already archived because if you look at our Calypsonians, you could go on YouTube and hear Calypsos. You could go on Apple Music and all these places and listen to our Calypso and Soca and so on. What we don't have a whole lot of is the stories behind it. I shouldn't say we don't have it. It's just hard to find. It's not in one place. Salute to Pan to When Steel Talks is one of the places that I do a lot of research. Salute to Guana Guanari, I think is the name of the website. You see Guana Guanari, when I want Calypso lyrics, I just go on that site. Plenty times I'm looking for lyrics. So a song, them had the lyrics. When Steel Talks have these stories behind some of the artists and so, you know what I mean? They're excellent. And Teach Them doing that in the Jamaican culture. So I just want to say that I'm obsessed with that channel. I like how he do it. After seeing what he do, I figure out some things for how I could do what I want to do with our artists and tell these stories of who we are. But anyway, I don't know how I reached that fun. I know what's the point I was trying to make. But let me get back to the original point. If I want to appeal to a young audience, I had to figure out how do I change what we do now. If what we're doing now not appealing to a young audience, and I'm going to use an example of two events which I feel like I kind of want to go. There's an event by the name of Aqua on Carnival Saturday. I feel I want to be in the Aqua. I find it songing good. I find the Aqua songing like it have a vibe. Now, what I will say about the Aqua is that I feel the Aqua... At this point in time, the Aqua could be looking a little bit like TTT, like NCC and TUCO show. Because I want to play a little thing about the Aqua here for you. Because see, on Tony Chowlin on Instagram, something that I don't think I have ever seen. I know him promoting shows since I know myself, right? And when I hear this, I say, well, all right, this song is like a Watercolors reboot to me. But... a little bit worried because I just wanted to listen to this, right? And if you're from that era when Chinese Laundry was one of the greatest marketing people it ever had, where you can't get a ticket, where he never used to tell you the price of ticket, he never used to, at a point in time where colors and watercolors, them men wasn't even telling you who performing, them just telling you, listen, tickets coming out for so on Tuesday. And if you can get a ticket Tuesday by the radio station, it going up by $20. If you can get, and it was just that. And he used to talk about scalpers. He's like, come down before the scalpers get. That man was so sure about the events. But hear this, right? Tell me how you find it song.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I want to tell you a few things about the Aqua. The new water experience this Carnival Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, the VIP cabanas upstairs sold out.
Wow.
The cabanas around the water, pools and so on, around the park, they're all sold out as well.
They're really good.
But you have one more option.
Yeah.
If you purchase a ticket, my suggestion, come early.
Right.
The park opens at 11 a.m. It's a daytime event. Come early. Secure one of the hundreds of the umbrellas and tables around the park. It's 17 acres of park.
Wow.
And set up yourself real nice.
Nice.
For you and your crew.
Yes.
And of course, I will always encourage, you print some vests.
You're right.
For the whole squad.
Right.
Bikinis and the girls crew in matching bikinis.
Yes.
That is a whole scene. Those study Miss Appropriate and Jadel and what they wearing, All right. As for the artists, the list long.
Right.
The real Pram, Colonel and Sam, Ding Dong, Irfan Alves,
Pram.
Rafi B, many. I don't want to let go the whole list.
Right.
To while you're too much until the day of the event. Or probably the day before.
Okay.
All the DJs, the Ojo Boys, Travis Woolly, Gervais.
Right.
We come in
Pram,
with a
pram.
real pram.
Pram, pram.
Let's talk about the complimentaries.
No. You went on to talk about complimentaries and why they care is, complimentaries and thing, right? No, I just say I ain't knocking nobody, I ain't wiling nobody, right? But I just find it's something to note when Chinese Laundry himself is coming on Instagram to promote his show directly, to talk to patrons, regular patrons nonetheless, not VIP patrons or nobody who taking no command of the average Joe. Chinese Laundry is talking to us directly. When last year from it? Today, while I recording this, we'll be heading down in Marshall Monday. When last year Chinese Laundry on his Instagram saying, y'all, Marshall Monday, I would suggest y'all print some jerseys and come down as your crew and pram. It is good. No, that is probably nothing to do with these fellas' marketing ability or the fact that it have events. I'm glad it's having something. If I have a little squad and we could go down, I definitely go in. I would like to get a little VIP boots. So I'm feeling kind of bad. I waited last minute and that's sold out. But I'll still make the call. A matter of fact, this on record, right? And I haven't gone yet. I haven't tried to purchase a ticket or anything, but I'm going to release this on Tuesday, as always. And next week podcast, I will tell Ole if I still get through that VIP booth, if I went still after he said it was sold out, right? We do a little investigative Mark Bassant Liebird like investigation to see where it is happening. I just think that is not normal to seem like that. Hopefully, in the end, the events sell out and it become a great success. But when I look at what he is doing, and then Jules Sobian, or I should say Caesar's Army, also has an event called Riddim Nation that being advertised, right? Am I getting that right? Yes. Caesar, rum plus Riddim. I don't know what the bottle for. The bottle look like it's for rum, but it's Riddim Nation, bring your rhythm. I'm saying all that to say that if an event like the Calypso Monarch is in the hands of somebody like this, and this is not a suggestion, I'm just saying that with their private event, they are going to focus a whole lot on what the user experience is like. They will spend a lot of time identifying who is the ideal, not user, but ideal patron, who exactly they're trying to sell to. And when they figure out that persona, you used to say a persona, right? Or if you want to talk marketing terms, when you figure out who that persona is, now you start to figure out, okay, what appeals to that person? And back in the academics again, it's like, well, what price, what does the product look like, where we could make it available for them, and how we will promote it and how we will sell it to them. You know what I mean? And that's what we do all the time. Now, without the profit mandate, I suppose that the people who throw in the Taster Carnival or the Sunday night event, they don't necessarily have to go through this, but it's just my suggestion because Gypsy so eloquently say we can't allow the thing to fall down. We must rise up. We must show how great we are. So if you're interested in appealing to another demographic, like a younger demographic, identify who is the persona. Who is the persona of a younger person to Calypso and Kaiso? Is it 40 to 50 years old? Is it male, female? What is the income bracket? What it is we're trying to do? Who we trying to sell to exactly? Once you can identify who those people are, because I personally find that the events that we do, like the Monarch, I don't want to keep saying the Monarch. I'm looking for other examples because I don't want to pick on the Calypso Monarch, but Panorama is in that bracket as well. The Monarch is there, the extempo competition and all those things are there. The Kings and Queens of Carnival, all of them. It seems as though the purpose is to keep exactly what we've been doing for however long, and who fall in. And I'm saying that you could continue to do that when you get government funding or you get a check handed to you for 1.5 and it's not enough, so you put on what you could put on. But once you had to make money, once you had to get mankind to take a little dollar out of their pocket, you got to show up on Instagram with your fancy glasses and tell people what pram, you know. You got to do what it takes. You got to do what it takes to sell an event. Because he can't afford to have an event where the whole thing just empty and it's 3 empty chairs and all those types of things. So going back to the people in Calypso now for Taster Carnival, if you know this is your audience, because the Sunday night wasn't the only event that was a little sparse. You know, they had one in the Savannah and reports have it that it was sparse with traditional masks and so on. I believe these people have a product to sell. Traditional masks could sell. Calypso and Kaiso could definitely sell, as with everything else. So if there's a younger demographic, I want you to think of younger people now and tell me if you find the attention span like yours. Your attention span getting longer or shorter over time. I could help you, because when I see how short people is listening to the damn episode, why they spend 2-3 hours to get on to 1.5, 2 hours in this thing, and people listen for 15 minutes and gone. And I had to come back now to the drawing board and say what I could do to make people move from 15 minutes to 20 minutes. How can I pram this thing? I struggle with that all the time, but that is my work. I had to try and figure out now, okay, what is appealing, what topics is work. You know what I mean? You understand where I'm coming from? But the general direction our attention span is going towards is shorter rather than longer. So I understand when you have a check in your hand and you have to appease everybody because everybody is taxpayers and you have to be seen as being fair. Now we had to say, I had to get some old Kaisonian, I had to get some young Kaisonian, I had to get some women, I had to get some men, I had to get some all different races from all different places. Oh God, we had to get somebody from Tobago who will represent. That is what end up happening when you do. You could just do what you want with the money in hand. You don't forget, in all that you say there, not once you mention who is the patron. And sometimes I wonder, when you have somebody, I was fortunate enough to be passing by Simon's the other day, right? I tell you, my little parents side, the guitar man passed away. The best guitar man passed away and the second best guitar man passed away last year, right? So I say, you know what? I had to start back playing guitar a little bit. I had to pick back up the guitar and fight up and see how I could play, because I ain't so sure I definitely can't play guitar as good as I could play quattro, right? But I'm not even sure that I could play guitar and sing in the way I want to. So I say, you know what? Time to practice, time to go back to the drawing board, because it's a quattro, man. You could get somebody to play a quattro, right? So I went by Simon's the other day and I say, you know what? I'm going to buy a guitar, or a proper guitar, where with the few little chords I could play with confidence and I could play and sing, which is half the song we just play. Natty, natty, baby, give me the thing that you get. I could play that whole day and whole night. I say, so at least if I fall in a little mix, I could play the guitar and practice. It's no better practice than doing it when you had to play and you're playing with a band. Your fingers go get bright. Everything go get figured out, right? So I gone by Simon's to buy the guitar. Who I could see walking other than the great Neil Iowa George, one of the greatest Kaisonians all the time. So I had to try not to fan out, right? I had to try and stay intelligent, because the first time I meet Iowa, I fan out and I didn't know what to say and I ended up saying nothing. And I didn't like that. I had plenty I wanted to say. So I talked to him and said, you know what was one of the things he was saying? He said that it's a struggle for him because it have so many songs that he can't get to sing. Because every time he goes somewhere, you're doing Kess and them show, you're glad to do the show, you're glad to be among what would be to him, although Kess is a veteran, but to Iowa, Kess is one of the youths, you know what I mean? But you're running on them shows and you have 5 minutes, you have 10 minutes. I saw it happen to Barrington Levy in our Verses recently, where you bring on a man like Barrington Levy, who are catalog, and you're telling me you have 5-10 minutes to be able to perform. We talked about it last week in the Super Bowl, where you bring Snoop, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, who are missing, 50 Cent, all of them who have catalog and doing sold out, and you give them 12 minutes, 15 minutes for a performance, and now everybody rushing to do. At least they could say that is one thing that they do once a year for their showcase for the Super Bowl, which would elevate. I hear Mary J. Blige in an interview talking about how much the Super Bowl does for their career. The bookings go up, the price go up, you know what I mean? And they get a different exposure to a different audience and so on. And you could see the streaming numbers of everybody who was in the Super Bowl going up astronomically now. Well, led by Eminem. Ask me why. But we tend to do that as a norm. So somebody as great as Iowa with so many songs, any title it have, he in that. And he's somebody who could just run on for a few minutes. The one artist who I find has changed that over the years is Marshall, who does his own show. Salute to everybody who do their own show, right? Let me just say Marshall, right? I had to get out of this in the guy old school and I from a long time. And I'll get to Second Star and them show and lyrical and them, I'll get to them because them youths doing a different, I can't call them youths, them fellas doing a different thing, and I like that. Because one of the things I enjoyed about, I didn't like Marshall Monday the first time I went to know, because I gone there, Marshall performing and thing, everybody just watching. I stand up till my foot hurting. I was living out of the country at the time, so I want to go a fete. Boy, Hinkson and these fellas and them, God bless the heart, them men carry me Marshall Monday, but I vex the whole night because I can't whine on nobody. You just watching the show. And it took me a while to appreciate it for what it was. The one where I got the best appreciation for it was the one with Peter Minshall. because this you could not miss the show that it was. Outside of the songs and the fact that you want to wine on people, you couldn't miss the show what it was. And from then on, I realized my 40-year-old self need to go Marshall Monday and sit down and take in a good show, because now you're getting to see an artist's full catalog. And I wonder if there's not space for that in Calypso, because one of the people who I was really, really impressed by in that show on Sunday night was Brother Mudada. Listen, Mudada delivery style, and he come out of that shit. Listen, Mudada delivery and style on that night was on point. The song was good. And we here now is no a seasoned performer. You know? If a man like me go to sing a calypso on a stage afraid to mash the edge, Mudada owned the whole stage and had the people, or lack of people, rocking with the thing, you know what I mean? So it makes me wonder, like, why try to force 55 artists to come there and do one song and make a show last 3.5 longer than any patron who you would, whether it's the older people who you're looking at, they can't sit down, like myself, can't sit down for too long. Or if it's the younger people, they don't want to be there for that long, regardless of how good the show going. It's had to be in and out. You remember when we used to go cinema midday and leave in the night? No, it used to be at 4:30. When you done with that 4:30, it's after 9 in the night, you know, coming out, you're going in the day. Them things can't sell now, you know. People paying more money now to go and see one show than we used to pay to see 2 shows back in the day. And it's not that it's not so much as the definition of value. This thing getting like a marketing class. You know, one day this podcast could just turn into everything I lecture, I could just come and lecture it here. And then in my classes, I would say, go and listen to episode 34 if you want to know about price, right? A matter of fact, that's an idea. That might happen, right? So me have to do double work. But anyway, what's that again? If you understand what is value to the cinema goer, you will realize that people will come, they'll pay the $35, or I said $35, right? It must be 55 or 60 by now, right? But you're paying money and you go there. You're going to buy well overpriced, what is call them thing? I saying condiments. Not confectionery neither. Concessions from the concession stand, right? You're going to buy that. You know what I mean? But when you leave there, it's not like if you don't want to be entertained for a 4-hour stretch. You're going to watch a movie, but when you leave, you go pass by somewhere to eat and you get something to eat, and that was a whole experience. You don't want to sit down in a place from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So you're saying when you're watching a movie, it just don't work for the customer that you're trying to sell to in this day and age. So, but for all intents and purposes, the show that I talking about on Sunday night was great. But I want to ask you, how much of y'all saw it? How much of y'all saw it live? How much of you went back to Facebook to watch it and so on? I'm telling you, you ended up having to put aside plenty time to be able to see a show like that. And I wonder, okay, why not say, because we're doing this forever, right? Because the people who I see on that show, people like the Hendrickson sisters, All Rounder, Scrunter, Super Blue, Mudada, they've been doing this forever. I talk about men who went in Calypso Monarch and in the 80s like Scrunter up to today. Count how much years that is. It's forever. It's not a hustle. It's not a one and done. It's not. You understand what I'm saying? So why not take the carnival and say, okay, for a show this year, I want to showcase Mudada. It's not about who win the competition. It's not, because clearly it's not really a competition. Right? I wanna showcase Mudada. I wanna give them time. Let me go through the years of Mudada, who he is, what he thinks, show a little background. You know, you could do something so different to be able to highlight people, or to and more than that, to create value in a show for people rather than 35 people singing a 6-minute song with a 10-minute break in between. I just feel like what is not sustainable is not the art form itself. It's not the old-time Kaiso. It's not the mass. It's not the Calypso or Kaiso. It's not the Soca. Those things not dying. They're not going anywhere. What is unsustainable is the delivery method. We tend to not want to change the delivery method at all. And that's odd. Look at your favorite music today. You call it genre. Take out local music out of the equation, right? Look at your favorite. Take out Caribbean music out of the equation. And look at your favorite genre. Look at R&B, look at hip-hop. A song used to be 4 or 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It belonged to 3 minutes. No, when you listen to these artists, it's 1.5 minutes. The whole song fits in, you know. But we still have this thing where you have to figure out how to put 4 verses with 4 chorus and 4 thing and a pre-chorus and this. And if you have that, because they have judges who their best interest is not in what the audience looking at. Their best interest is in what they set as a standard for what calypso or kaiso is, or what soca is. This is what the judges. So they do a big show like Soca Monarch, where a big part of soca, a big part of what makes a soca successful is how the crowd responds to it. But that is only 10 points, because they have a whole lot of other things that somebody who is identified as a judge decides what soca should be and what a chord structure for soca is. And this where I had to salute these youths. I had to stop saying youths. I had to salute these artists now, because them have no respect for what the chord structure is supposed to be or what is calypso. Them men trying to make good songs. And not just good songs for the sake of a season, but good songs that could play anywhere. So I see the Guardian do was it the Guardian? Somebody do an article this week, and people was a little upset on Twitter. There's it was about Patrice Roberts and her body work. You could call it that. When you say body work, it sounds like a body shop. But you know what I mean? Her alterations, you know what I mean? Nips and tucks and whatever she do. And people are upset, they're saying that, why write an article about this and how she changing herself and how her skin color change and all these different things when she's one of the biggest artists in the genre. And I mean, I guess you could write about that. People want to know about, if you write an article about who do surgery, I think that's still going to be a big thing in this country. That article going to sell and people going to read that to see all what they do. And that becoming a ever more popular thing in Trinidad and Tobago, thankfully. You know what I mean? People are, people pay them. And pay it on terms, or just now courts go start to sell little body and so on, so you could pay them on where you had to get by courts, and you pay it off over 10 years. And as soon as the 10 years pass and things start to flop again, you just renew, you know what I mean? Take out a new body on terms, you're good to go. But Patrice Roberts, one of the greatest in the art form, and she have I don't know what to call it, if it's a formula or a style, or she in a zone. And like I said about Blacks last week, Black say boy is a hit maker. Black say you have 100 and people sending them songs. And he just take the songs about the 3-4 that he want to do, and he go in the band room and he following what the men tell him and he going with that. So when you look at Urfanal's voice, Pretty, Second Star, College Boy Jesse, somehow Lyrical and Nadia Batson in that equation as well. I see in them as older than everybody else in that age group I talking about there, so I'm probably wrong about that, but they have a nice little thing going in the way they work together. But you would notice that the way their songs are constructed, or I don't know if you would notice it, they're not the traditional calypso and soca kind of chords and beats and rhythm and them types of things. And my thing is like why it needs to be. So when I hear, I was talking about dancehall and how people, they ain't like the idea of trap dancehall. They say too far from dancehall and thing. And my thing to that is you're going to express themselves, you're just going to express themselves and they're going to make music. If you're a successful artist, it means that the audience responding to what it is you doing. So you see me? I like to be around youths. I like to see what youths doing. Once you figure out what youths doing, you'll figure out what direction the world going in. Because me and you ain't going to be here forever, So I want to just salute to the people who doing their normal circuit of shows, which would be, I saw one with Lyrical. I want to say that was in Napa, And of course, the usual suspects there, you know what I mean? The crowd, the voice and all of them, they support each other's show. And all of them. So I'm not sure. I never went to any. And there's no knock on them at all. I don't go nowhere. But I wonder how do they help you? Because one of my complaints about going fete after fete back in the day was that at some point you're seeing all the same performances. And when they performing at all their own fetes, there's a different headliner each time. So I would assume that the headliner getting the lion's share of the face time or the stage time, and they're getting to do more of the catalog. But I wonder how they select songs and things. That's an interesting thing, so that they're songing fresh every time. Because I would also think that they marketing to the same audience. So a lot of the people who showing up for Voice show will be showing up for College Boy Jesse show or Pretty or Urfanals or any of them, you know what I mean? And I just like how they have a good thing going. They have a unity, a kind of unification going amongst one another. I've heard about any calypsonian or soca artist or anybody you talk to. Just say the word fight down and sit down for the next 4 or 5 hours and you'll understand where it is coming from. Every one of them has stories about how the industry do them bad, other artists do them bad. I don't want to talk about some of the things I talked to Iwa about because hopefully I could get him here and he could talk about it himself. But when you hear some of these stories about him coming up in music, you're wondering, like you could not have a Iowa George, you could not have a Marshall Montana, you could not have a Brother Mudado because of how deadly the industry could be at times. But these folks, I can stop saying youth, these folks find a way to support one another and to bring each other through in the art form. And salute to them for that. So the last one I saw this weekend, I believe I saw 3 things that I wanted to highlight this weekend. And then we off this, right? Lyrical and the camaraderie and so on that they showed at his show. College Boy Jesse, and I saw it on Pretty Instagram going and perform at College Boy Jesse show. And listen, them men coming and performing every one of them shows like it's them when they coming to tear down the show. They're making sure that patrons or lack of patrons get their money's worth. And Earth and Halves do something I find was real unique. And I had to salute them for it. Now Earth and Halves different, eh? So, I don't know, boys. Something about that. But he's going to... let me not say he's going to be a superstar. He's done a superstar already. But he's going to be one of the greatest to ever do it, you know. Earth and Halves going to end up being legendary. Mark my words here. Earth and Halves do this thing where you do 4 shows in 24 hours. I think he did... Well, he started this Saturday night with one event. If I could find his Instagram, maybe I could not fumble my way through this. I know he did one midday in Woodford Cafe, and I happened to be passing by that area where Woodford Cafe, and I was like, wait, this looking like a vibe. I wonder if I could fall in, but I was in my gym clothes and things, so it would not be a good look. And I know he did one in Steel and South, and then came back up in Jack's in Movie Town to do one as well. And little by little, you start seeing him saying, fully booked, sold out, you know what I mean? So, salute to Earth and Halves. I just think it's a unique little thing again. For artists like him, international artists, big songs, huge hits. Again, I want to recognize these first because they're always well dressed. They're dressing like a star, you know what I mean? It's not run on. These first dress like stars. And it's not necessary for him to say, all right, well, let me go and get the whole Savannah and get the North Stand and Grandstand so that listen, 20% of the North Stand and Grandstand could full out Jacks and these venues that he performing at. But having to do that every single year, putting an enormous amount of pressure on you that you may not need to have, and it moves what really is success to you as an artist. You could be successful doing these shows, building your audience little by little, because, all right, if you want to use a comparison, for instance, Marshall couldn't perform in Jack's today. That's going to be a huge problem, right? But that's today. You flash back to back in the day and see if you wasn't seeing Marshall performing in coconuts and all over the place like normal, you had to build your audience and thing. And that's where I find these youths figure something out. I say youths again. This is where I find these dudes and dudettes figure some things out. Because what those 4 performances, I find, that is not for today. That is an investment in the future of, and I was going to become a major superstar. And you can't knock him at all. Now, before we come out, we're still in the culture a little bit, and because I say major superstar, to go on to this story as well. The great Timothy Watkins. Giant. A reading from Loop News by, well, I know who's the person, Loop Entertainment. Baron has been honored with a street named after him. The sweet soca man, birth name Timothy Watkins, expressed excitement at the unveiling of the Timothy Watkins, the Baron Street at the intersection of Bamboo Junction and Gulfview Link Road. Listen, I feel to cry. The street was formerly called Bay Road. Baron, 75, grew up in the area, said he feels very good and happy about the honor. I am proud, he told Loop News. The ceremony was held by the Pinal Debe Regional Corporation. Baron was accompanied by his wife and manager, Sherma O. Right? Member of Parliament for Orupuchi, Rudal Munilal, said via statement that the PDRC, Pinal Debe Regional Corporation, right, has renamed a vital artery in the southwestern district in the honor of Baron in tribute to his lengthy and distinguished career as a renowned international entertainer. Baron, whose career began in 1971, is admired and appreciated in the Pinal Debe as he is around the world for his distinctive voice and many endearing ballads on love, society, worship, and Christmas. Over the years, he has performed at several gigs in the Penal Debe communities from his giant bag of hits. He goes on to say, I'm honored to count Baron among my esteemed and long-standing friends, and I continue to enjoy his many timeless offerings, including Sweet Soca Man, Feeling It, Melodian Rhapsody, Neighbor, Jam You, Tell Me Why, Do Rock It So in Spanish. Listen, that's some man who'll Korean. Munilal said, despite the tribute to Baron follows earlier construction of the district of a statue of popular chutney singer Sundar Popo. He congratulated Councillors Roland Hall and so on and so on, right? Now, I see a little thing they were showing you where they let Baron climb up and unveil your own sign. I would like to ask all the regional corporations who are going to name streets after all our Calypsonians to not let them climb no sign, please. Bring down the sign. We must have some kind of system where the sign could come to them. All they do put Baron on the ladder now. They protect we own now. Keep them with kid gloves. We want to get through 2022. We only remember how much episode we do with Memorial and thing last year. We don't want to do no more. We want to just play the music because we love the music. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into no thing with the Baron 75. Baron 75. Only have no right to put Baron on top no ladder. But if you know the street they're talking about now, if you ask me, they should have named the whole of Bamboo Junction, Baron Junction. But anyway, it's a major street. It's a little small street. And we're proud to see that. I want to go down there and drive on it. And you see the name is Timothy Watkins Street. I wonder what he wanted. I find they should have named, they should have made the intersection. One is Timothy Watkins Street, the next one is Baron Road. You know what I mean? But salute to them. And salute to them for including him in this. Now, I done gone too far without playing no music in this episode, but let her forgive me. I'm going back for a second to that. I have a few calypso to play in this episode. And I'm a little bit confused about one thing about our NCC show, because I see that down put out a list here of the finalists for the March Gras. So let's bear with me because I have to go back to it because I don't understand. But when they say they're doing the best of the tent and they're bringing people together, I want to play a song here that to me is one of the essence of tent and why we used to go to, and why I love the tent. Because the tent wasn't about the big hits, you know. The tent was about songs like these.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome on stage Bonnie B, Crystal Ball. Yeah.
Here, Kaiso. Ain't nobody from TTT going to get vexed with me. This is from TTT, Fair Use, right?
We're moving. Who's that boy?
Yes.
In my crystal ball, I saw these party singers trying to perform when they turned grandfathers. All them songs they sang at breakneck pace.
Yes.
Age pick up with them they couldn't face. I see 1,000 party people urging them to go. They want to drop the tempo, but the crowd telling them no. I see Iowa George in my glass.
What?
Trying to sing his song fast.
What you say? What you say?
Going on the party, mashing on the He starts to jump and shout, but all the teeth die out. Promoter the hum, but all you have is gum. He pulled out the chest.
Yes.
One flabby chicken chest, but he pulled on the party, mashing up fete.
Fete after fete after fete after fete.
He can't wave flag no more, cause all the elbows saw. Jump, jump.
Only don't put Baron on the ladder.
Jump, jump, jump. I saw Marshall on the stage, 2 nurses in the back, with ambulance and gears waiting for heart attack.
Yes.
All them soca years of wear and tear. Now the doctor order him to sing on chair. So when he used to get drunk and go down on the ground, he can't break no more I drew, but dust back up belong. See Marshall and the HD crew jamming at age 82. Jumping, jumping,
Yes.
jumping, jumping. see Marshall getting down with one big pampers on.
Jumpy, jumpy them, jumpy,
Jumpy them.
Look him in the glass,
Yes.
shaking up the grey head ras.
jumpy,
I think we done there already. Yeah?
jumpy, jumpy them,
Eyes popping out the head. He's jumping like he half dead.
jumpy,
Jumpy them.
jumpy, jumpy them,
He forgets he close to death. He still want to mash up pet.
jump,
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 jump.
jump.
Sing.
All of them get rich. I see them living nice. Heading for the gym, going to exercise. Because Jim's wrong at age 70 could still split.
Yes.
They want to use him as their yardstick. But see them with pot belly, they badly out of shape. So that they could hardly sing the songs they make.
Who you talking about, boy?
For saucy what to do, cycle wine at age 82. Saucy baby, how are you put it on? And as she cock she wish,
Yeah.
she coming down the thing.
Saucy baby, how are you put it on me?
As she go to flap,
Yeah.
oh she belly flap.
Saucy baby, how are you put it on me?
The bumsy gets so flat, she afraid to cock it back.
Saucy baby, how are you put it on me?
This time she can whine again. It's too much very going.
Jump, jump. I said jump.
It's not me who say so, eh?
Jump.
Yes.
The wooden pranks are wrong. Learn to sing on one spot. You're no longer young. Learn how to hold. Learn how to conserve their energy so that you could sing beyond 80. Look at Frank Sinatra, how he lasts so long. He never tell a DJ to wheel and cut no song.
No.
They want bungee to do. Fireman at age 82.
What you say?
Fire! As he make a shout, not a word come out. Fire! He try a second bus, laryngitis bus. Fire! Fear not to come
Yes.
to help him finish his song. Fire! He can sing again. Nothing here coming.
Jump.
Jump. Jump.
Jump.
Yes, jump.
Jump.
I said jump.
Jump. Jump.
Yes, Bunny B. And no, so all you go tell me that product can't sell. Oh, that is outside of all the performances you get from all the great something, you know. Bunny B, so look to you. I ain't like how you do saucy bad, you know. I find you talk about everybody, but I find like something about saucy, so I'm like, if it's real. I'm moving on. So I'm getting deeper into this thing, right? They say, Caesar. No, let me read from your writing. Loop Entertainment. Again. Who write the article? So Loop, all they don't say who write the article and think, oh, where is the idea about some of the article? No, it's not there. So I tell you about the Aqua. I want to be down in the Aqua. And I don't know if I have about 150 listeners for an episode and I promote these two shows, hopefully I could get 10% of 15 people go, including myself. I do my part to help promote the culture, right? So Chinese Laundry said, print up your vests, you know what I mean? Get some bikini for your chests and come down in the Aqua. The next event I see is by Caesar Jowelle Sobian. So Caesar-led Commander-in-Chief Jowelle Sobian will present its second installment of Carnival Theatre on February 28th and March 1st. Carnival Monday and Tuesday at Napa. Tilted Riddim Nation. Oh, that's what it stands for? Titled. Let me just stay together here, right? Titled Riddim Nation. The story tells of Broko, a Moko Jambi in training who ironically cannot seem to find his rhythm to perfect his art form. After many missteps and peekong from his family and peers, Broco is told to get himself in order for Carnival Monday and Tuesday. He is also taken aback by his girlfriend, Sexy, Sue, when she tells him he needs to improve his skills. For so be an executive producer of possibly the only Carnival theatre production for this season, this is an extension of his appreciation for drama. The pandemic revived my interest in theatre. My favorite subject in school was English literature. Really? Whose favorite subject in school was English? But then again, if you name yourself Caesar's Army and so on, it's showing you a little bit of English literature into, right? I believed in Shakespeare and love stories from the Caribbean. Let me separate them two things. I believed in Shakespeare and love stories from the Caribbean, he said. With over 20 years' experience in successfully building, managing, and championing brands, I want to repeat that. With over 20 years of experience in successfully building, managing, and championing brands, I want to know what he's using to measure that success. Could he be using sold-out events where performers have somebody to perform in front of? Could he be using virtual events? Could he be using event management rather than just doing your own events but manage other people's brands as well? Could he be measuring satisfaction of the guests who came to his parties when his parties was a little party compared to now when you go back in our road is a whole big thing? Could he be measuring the year when Pantran for some wise reason decide that the promoters as stakeholders who help in their event become the enormous or continue to be the enormous success that it was? I don't want to make it sound in any way like Jules Sobian or any other promoter who come from our era is responsible for the success of Pan, right? But I can tell you that in our era when he was going Pan and it had the greens and all those promoters was on the greens, it made a big difference to the amount of people who would attend Pan. Now you could say we wasn't attending for Pan purposes and so on. I feel like all those could be resolved if you work with your stakeholders because they are important parts of what you do. And if you tell them, listen, all you're attracting a crowd, what we want to do is to get this crowd interested in Pan. How can you all help us? How can we work with you all to make it successful for you all while we still fulfill our mandate, which is to get people to love Pan for the how much of millions of dollars that we gain every year? Because when all you're done promoter and all you're singing like Bungie where the words can't come out, all you're whining like saucy where every time you bend down is a pups because all of we go reach there, right? You're not going up on ladder to unveil your own sign and so on. When we reach there, we want to make sure that the Pan still sustainable, or the event itself, Panorama, which is one of the greatest festivals I ever went to. You kind of want to make sure that that's still around for our children. You know what I mean? But anyway, who am I to talk about this? Let me just repeat it one more time. With over 20 years experience in successfully building, managing, and championing brands, one of which they championed away from Panorama after Pantran Bago get them vexed. And then we see that empty pool with that one person was from Pantran Bago bathing in that, I want to say cesspool. I shouldn't say that. One person with a big blow pool in the middle of like what Panorama come to. You know what just step me and Pablo fall down in Panorama for Panorama to come to a big half-dead event a year? But if you work with people who have 20 plus years experience in managing it, and you know what's another thing I'm going a real sidetracking, you know? But another thing that we like to do in this country is when we have 20 plus years experience, we like to turn that into 60 plus years experience. Because we ain't going at all. Well, I'm going to call names. I'm going to call names of all the people who on all the boards in this country. I'm going to say Ken Julian. I ain't going to call no names. I acknowledge that Carnival was always about drama and theatre in some form or fashion. It was happening before me, and so it continues. In doing these productions like last year and now, I hope I can present the next generation of Carnival theatre, which will eventually find itself on the world stage. It's written and produced by Penny Gomez. Riddim Nation is infused with humor, drama, and headliners in entertainment. Gomez has become a popular face as the host of local entertainment show Penny on Point, aka Pop, of which she is executive producer. Now, I don't know if I'll ever take in that show, right? But look for Penny on Point, look for Pop. And she does a great, she's just somebody who very easy to watch. I think somehow like Penny energy on that show when you watch her, whether she have guests on the show, no matter what they're doing, it's just a vibe. And things like this is make me wonder a little bit, right? Because I grew up in a time where you could have tuned into a show called Community Dateline every single day and watch one of the greatest to ever do it. Talk to all different kind of people in all different art forms, all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. And like I fast forward to today and watching last week we were talking about Whoopi Goldberg and The View and all them things. And as great as those shows are with, what was it on the Strahan and the Kelly Lady and all them things? Listen, Alison Hennessy was doing that way back then, in terms of a variety show in a morning where she carries a whole show, bring guests, whether it's a guest or no guest. Alison was just, I find when you watch Penny, I don't know if I'm alone in this, but when you go on YouTube and you just look for Penny Pop. No, don't look for Penny Pop, right? Don't look for Penny Pop. Look for Penny Gomez, look for Pop, right? You're going to notice that she has such an infectious way of talking, of laughing, of dealing with topics. And listen, she's one of the most genuine people. When you see her greet somebody, when you see she greet a guest, it looks so warm. It feels like if she greets you to come into the show and so on. She's excellent at what she does. And it makes me wonder, like, this is clearly the new community dateline or whatever it is. But anyway, she have the show. She hosted the popular AM show Morning Barbados. She doubles as host and producer for TV show Culture at Work, What's On, and Hype, and so on. Gomez holds a BA in language. It's a lot of languages happening here. What's going on? It's between only if you do English literature and English hunting, you could be in these things. Postgrad diploma in cultural enterprise management from UE, and so on and so on. So they go on a long list of Penny's accomplishments. She went on to say, "I'm so thrilled that I get a chance to further explore my creative side," said Gomez, who also directs the play. People say there's no carnival this year. However, this play, although it may be light and funny, it gives us a reminder of what carnival is about. It's about finding your true rhythm in the heart of the key components that comprise the festival. In terms of the cast, Kern Samuel, who plays Broco. Samuel has been a singer and actor in both theatre and film for close to 2 decades, a recent addition to the National Theatre Arts Company. Samuel plans to make performing his career flying the TNT flag high worldwide. Salute to them. Let me go on, yes, because I like what I'm seeing here too. Samuel's roll call includes performances in Circle Mirror Transformation. Let's just pretend I know what I mean. Circle Mirror Transformation. That looked like that was a production or something. Samuel's roll call includes performances in Circle Mirror Transformation, which he co-directed with Royal Gibbons. I Wanna Fall, a musical on the Calypsonian Mighty Spoiler. Ada, Peter Pan, Jesus Christ Superstar. Okay, so these are different things that he did, right? Take my while to get there, but I get there. You know what I mean? These are different things that he did. So salute to Caesar's Army. And it's a general salute for me, right? To all the people who putting on events, because it cannot have a carnival. It's impossible to. Carnival is carnival. Bacchanal is bacchanal. If you know what carnival really is, you stop using this term. Whether it have a carnival or it have no carnival, it's impossible to stop it. So it's great that they have events. So should I find my way up to Napa, boy? I'll say this. I particularly enjoy carnival type musicals. I don't like musicals as shows, right? So from the time a show is a musical, I don't want to watch that no more. But the first time I went to Tricanal show in Queen's Hall, or was it in Little Carib Theatre? I think it was Queen's Hall. It was the first one I went to. And because it's so much of me, it's my culture, it doesn't feel like a musical to me because it's hard to describe. It's music. I already love it. It's a part of me, in me. It just look like a play. It just look like a production, like a show. Whereas when I watch Sound of Music and them start to cry about Idlewild, I just can't take them to the Idlewild, you know. So Caesar's Army doing something for the carnival. I just hope that as we move back to a regular carnival experience or more traditional or the carnival experience that we accustomed to, that shows like these and people like Penny showcased and able to go to it. But we're going to make a judgment after, we will look back at this. We have time. I hear every Tuesday. So when this event is over, I want to look back at the comparison between events like the Taste of Carnival and the Dimash Gras versus events like Aqua and Riddim Nation, right? Now, one of the performers I seen in Riddim Nation, I'm going to go back to that Dimash Gras list shortly, right? But one of the performers I seen in Riddim Nation is a friend of the show, a man by the name of Mr. Shaq, you know what I mean? So, by right, I see Mr. Shaq put out a song this week. And while I was searching for, because I tell myself, listen, I really going hard into all the new soca and thing this year, trying to, you know what I mean? I had to remain young and hip, I had to be in the game, you know what I mean? Like I conk mouth as an old man right through. But in Kaiso and Calypso is my roots both, so I always had to stick to that. So I was pleasantly surprised. And to be honest with you, maybe I shouldn't be surprised at these things, because these fellas is real vanguards of the culture. And now that I've seen Penny involved in this, I remember seeing Mr. Shaq appearance on Pop. And it was just nice to look at, I sounding biased like hell, but I am. So taking this little piece, I see Mr. Shaq post on his Facebook this week.
They say silence is golden. That might be true,
Yes.
But when too many people too silent for too long, well, that is when evil could go down. And so you see in this option, silence can't be the option. Cause it's time to raise your voices. You will see them taking broken choices, killing me with devil devices. Raise your voices. See how we numb and dumb. Stay there and feel you're safe when you hold your tongue. Listen. We read them with the algorithms, feeding me the shroom and the microchips them. The whole world change and the order new. So which pill you choose, the red or the blue? You want to make sure to talk the truth, you're afraid. So you got join the charade and masquerade. But I don't go along to get along, so it's musical bull, pistol and blade in the mouth. You will see them taking with me choices, killing with the devil devices. Raise your voices.
Yeah, boy, listen, a rap so man is a hell of a thing. I know what to call Shaq, Shaq says he's a Kaisonian, I know he's a Parandero, a rap so man, because this hard. Mr. Shaq and Derwin Valley, listen, the song hard. I know the rest of the song now, I just had a little snippet where he play on the on the Facebook, and the song hard. So he going to be in this Caesar's Army production, or this production by Penny Gomez and In Riddim Nation. And if you know anything about musicals, particularly with Tricanal, right? It moving. The one I went and watched with Tricanal was a story about the original, the Captain Baker story, right? We heard that story 100 times. And it was powerful. It's the best way I could describe it. Tricanal performances, because of course, as with Edelweiss and them, the music going along with the theme of the story, so the music helping carry the story. So now that I see is a Muko Jumbi thing, and the Muko Jumbi trying to find his way and he trying to think. I don't know if the Raise Your Voices is a part of this, but I feeling the powerful nature of that song, and if that in the, oh my God, they're gonna be in the Napa, this is gonna be a problem. But salute to Mr. Shaq, salute to Jules. I see Hoppy and them say they're doing something, so I don't know if that's the same thing as what Chinese Laundry doing with the Aqua. Salute to all of them, and again, I continue to make my case for why you need people like Penny and Jules and Hoppy and just business people, who trying to understand the audience first before they make a product. Not make a product and how the audience hang its swing, right? So, talking about how the audience hang its swing, I would like to read the finalists of TUCO's The Marche Gras. Now, the Marche Gras is not like a Calypso competition. It's not Calypso King, eh? It's just a show. But somehow they went from these 6 hours of performance that we see on Sunday to bubble back down to 10 performers. And those 10 performers are Aaron Duncan. He was excellent. Tazia O'Connor, you hear my thoughts about him already. That was great. Bevan Sinclair was great. I didn't hear Prince Unique. Wait, now, I missed plenty of it. I didn't hear Tigress, Bunny B. Listen, only give Bunny B the thing. No, I already said that Dwayne O'Connor is the monarch, yeah? And if it are no monarch and no crown this year, I want him sing back that song next year. If Gary's still around, that song was bad. But you see Bunny B, Bunny B come good with that song. Saucy power, but he come hard. Bali was on the show, so Bali is there. Gypsy is in the mix, you know what I mean? Salute to Gypsy. Gypsy's a part of it. Scrunter, listen, it's always great to see Scrunter perform. Scrunter, I remember that Scrunter in the heyday in the 80s and 90s. I home in them. I never see Scrunter perform in fete and them things. Since I know Scrunter and love Scrunter, and he's a back in times artist, you know what I mean? He's already a legend. He passed that stage. And when only name the whole of Grande after Scrunter, don't let him climb up nowhere to pop the thing, eh? Please, let him stay on the ground, right? But seeing Scrunter perform, he do woman on the bass and thing, and listen, what's it, consummate performer. And songing so different, like songing so different from the original record, but so sweet in the way he delivering these songs. And he have a style all his own. And it was also great to see the last person on this list here as Johnny King. Underrated if you ask me. Johnny King music, sweet boy, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure what this looks like. I'm not sure if people coming in the new compositions or if people going and sing the old songs or if it's a showcase of artists. Really not sure. Maybe I should know, right? But this is what the TUCO release say. The Trinidad and Tobago Unified Calypsonians Association, together with the NCC, hosted a spectacular production on the 20th of February. I agree. Then the clash of the 10th show at Naparima Bowl, San Fernando. TUCO wishes to thank the Calypsonians who participated in what is described as an enjoyable and entertaining show. The following persons have been selected here. They didn't really say much else now. And then the extempo face-off will be between Kevin Caliste and Myron B. And that's it. So I guess it's a show. So we go take any show, we go enjoy it. Yeah, if it's Sunday night, I here for it. I go talk about it when I see the whole show and thing. But they definitely have some solid new. I don't know if to call them new releases, but songs. So I assuming what Aaron Duncan and them sing is this year. You know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but assuming it's this year releases versus some classics and so on. So it looked like it will be a good show. If I'm judging from anything what happened in Naparima Bowl, I think it will be another good show. The real show we had to talk about. All it is carnival week, you know. So I hope all ain't coming here expecting too much rollers and camelers and them thing because it's carnival week and there's plenty carnival thing to talk about. I want to say salute to a gentleman by the name of Chrison Seraphim Joseph. His Instagram says he's a multi-genre vocalist, musician, composer, and calypsonian. You know what I mean? I say salute to him because I saw a show called, and this on TTT again, called In Defense of Carnival. Now, these folks put together a show here. Now this is definitely designed to be virtual. This didn't seem to be any audience or even studio audience because it was a little bit awkward when you heard some of these songs finish and nobody clap. It was so good that you're expecting people to go up in an uproar when a song finish and then you hear nobody clapping. You know it's good in virtual performances, right? But I just want to say that Chrison Joseph is a legend because the performance on this show, amazing can't begin to describe what it is I see with a performance by Chrison and the team. Now, I tuned into it late. I didn't know it was happening actually, and I just happened to tune into it. And I catch what I think is the tail end of it, right? And there's also another show that I see him advertising or posting on his Instagram, which would be on Monday night at 8 p.m. Now, by the time you're hearing this, it's too late, right? But usually, if it's on TTT, you could find it on TTT Facebook page, which if you're for the culture, it have a lot there. Or on the YouTube, you see some of it posted on YouTube. Now, where I rate this fella, right, is number one, I want to talk about the band. I wish I had the information and I knew who the band was and everything. But the band was on point. The men's song, great. The idea was remembering resilience. As it says on his Instagram, this celebration of the strength of human spirit, even in the depths of despair, is a direct response to the pandemic and a recognition of mankind's ability to not only survive, but thrive as expressed by the calypsos from artists as varied as Ella Handel, Mighty Sparrow, Brother Resistance, and Marshall Montano. No. His ability to carry a show is surreal. Because that man sit down on a bench there. He playing guitar, sometimes he playing a damn guitar. But the amount of vocal range you have to sing the kind of songs he sing, almost none. I said, but wait, this man, who he come out? In an excellent song after song, his renditions of this song, listen, the man going through it. He have an iPad there because I couldn't imagine somebody who could remember the lyrics of all those songs. And who ain't going to be focusing on trying to remember and not delivery, but his delivery was on point, his band was on point. Of course, by the time I looked through good to see the thing, and I hear a piece of saxophone playing is the old Tony Woodruff. You know, it must have a little Fatima in the mix, you understand? But I want to find out the name of the band and the name of the people in the band, because after he do all that, and I could not stop watching because I was looking at the songs they select. Well, you know, I like that, right? If you come with a theme on resilience, I was wondering, well, what kind of songs you gonna select that covering the theme of resilience, you know? No. Before I go any further, I want to talk about one of the songs he select, right? Because he select a Marshall Montano song and he makes sure and introduce it as a somewhat controversial song. Now, the name of that song is Ants, right? And I suppose that when you think of what Ants was about, from fete to fete, band to band, street to street, it means we coming, right? No matter where you do, we coming like Ants. Okay, all right, Christian, okay, well, let's see like that song like a little bit of resilience, something. It didn't sound like it fit with some of the giant songs that only choose for the occasion. Because some of the songs they selected, boy, listen, they do an excellent job in song selection because I couldn't possibly think of as much songs about resilience as they had chosen. But of course, one of the songs that must make that list is Power of Love by Ella Handel. That's something that we all go back to. If you're a Trini, that's a song you just go back to as a song of resistance, overcoming, personal power. You know what I mean? That's that song and the way she delivered it is also one of those songs that maybe too much people shouldn't attempt to sing. You know what I mean? People should leave Ella alone. Leave Ella alone. Them songs is to remain just the way it is and to be done original. Some songs is not to touch, you know what I mean? But there was a lady who was a backup singer for the whole time. And I admired the way the camaraderie with the band. You could see the band, they have a love with one another when they're going through the songs, you know what I mean? And they're tight. And I was just looking at these backup singers and they're looking pretty young to me for some of these songs that they're singing to. I was like, where the young girls and them know these songs from? You know what I mean? The bass man and the guitarist looking like people who know these songs. There was a man playing a djembe in the back. You know one of them songs where he playing. I had Tony blowing some. Anything could blow, Tony Woodruff just blow. A man time I had to say pause, you know. Pause. Right? He's excellent with wind instruments, right? No disrespect at all to the giant Tony Woodruff. But there was a lady there, a girl there who sang that Ella Handel song out of the blue after she sang back up for all them songs. And I keep wondering, but how you know the lyrics? I say when all I rehearse is the first time I hear some of these songs. But boy, that girl belts out Power of Love and shake up my whole iPad screen. So salute to them. That show was great. And I suppose that this week we could look forward to much more of those because we have more of the shows coming from all the artists. And it's just to show you that regardless of I don't know that our carnival needed to be announced to have any of these shows because we was going to have these shows anyway. Because of just what Christian and them say is the resilience of the people, what carnival means to us, that cannot fade away. So whether we're going to sit down in Napa, we're going to sit down 3 people at a time, we're going to go in a pod, or we're going to take it in home. Or I see some teachers complaining as I talk about Jimmy. My Jimmy girl, we have a Jimmy girl who's play congas and things and she's playing again by Martinica. I was a school teacher as well, but bad. When you see she playing, she's playing with Music Mansion and then she bad. And I see her posting recently. Several different festivals, religious and otherwise, are given holidays in this country. But when it comes to carnival, tutor basically, or the ministry basically saying, hey, all you have to teach train and the trainer to go to school as if it's just another day. And rest assured that carnival could never be just another day to us. Just observe what's going to happen in your community on Carnival Monday and Tuesday. I saw, is it Casabon? I don't want to call the wrong artist name. Let me get back to Instagram quick. Yeah, I was pretty sure I had that wrong. It's not to do with Casabon at all. I see as you have painted thinking Casabon. It's Jackie Hinkson, who last year, if you remember, he had done is that called a street mural? He did a mural on the wall. I hope I have that right. I don't want to get anything wrong, but it looked like a mural to me, right? So close enough. A street mural where he had done a huge wall painted with some artwork to represent Carnival at the time last year. And I saw this week he came out saying that he's going to do the same thing again. So this is from the Newsday. Jackie Hingson's walk/drive-by street exhibition, right? Of Carnival-inspired murals, right? On display along Fisher Avenue in St. Anne's where the artist lived. In 2021, the artist had updated the murals which had been unveiled on February 20th. So he back at it and he put out a mural again. And this year's, I don't know if it's coincidentally or if he working with Caesar's Army too. He was talking about some of the Moko Jumbies. He was basically saying that his representation this year was about people in high office versus the average person. You know what I mean? And he basically saying that, hey, this is, so the Moko Jumbies represented the people in high office. And he was not saying who right or wrong. He was just pointing it out. He was just saying that it is interesting to see the society divided between the higher ups and the lower downs, the kings and the servants, or if you want to put it like that. I'm not using his words. I ain't doing a good job at it either. But that's what he was representing. I was just finding it was strange that Caesar's Army doing Moko Jumbies and he coming in a Moko Jumbi kind of vibe to represent those who higher up and so on. And I think it's nice that he has done this again, that people could go and drive by and see, and you know what I mean, just take it in his art, just like everything else in Carnival. So I don't think if you had announced that there was a Carnival or you announced that there's no Carnival, you could stop the parade or the bands and don't give you permission to do that. But like I say with the Captain Baker reenactment with that sort of trick and all, we had to understand by now that there's no stopping of a Carnival. A Carnival going to happen regardless of what form it takes or what form you think it should or shouldn't take. I don't think anything gonna stop those things. So I sending some strength to my girl Tanika to make a Carnival and the people international. Well, shouldn't call it working. Make your own Carnival, you know what I mean? That's what we're here for. Carnival is ours. That could never be taken away. You know, I should have probably named this episode Promoters Paradise, because this week too, Adrian Schoon of Soca Promotions, Wow Events, I think is what they call it, officially charged for this having a boat ride on the Ocean Pelican during the time when it's not supposed to have a boat ride and so on. And remember, he was one of the people who had done some slightly different with the with Soca. It had to be the year before COVID, right? Yeah, that was actually the year before. That was the last Soca we went to. I call that the racial soak day. You had to go there and see she in the fete. I was so frightened. But that year, he had done Soca as a festival, which included some, like a market type event where you could buy stuff and thing in Napa, and a pan type event where you could take in some a pan clash something, if I remember right, and then the regular Soca fete on 1 out of the 3 days of the festival. And it seemed to be something that people doing more of, because I know Jules and they had done something like that with Bacchanal Road as well. Make it into more of a festival than one individual event. And I'd always said that about Panorama. It's one of the greatest festivals we ever had. So it's good to see the promoters heading in that direction where you could get something of you could get more than just a fete, and incorporating the pan into that, or local artists or business people where they could get I forget what it's called, them things like markets now. I keep thinking farmers markets, but micro entrepreneur markets. So that more is done during the Carnival. We create more things to do. That is always my complaint, right? Because if you have a Carnival in Miami, it's not going to be the same as Trinidad Carnival. What you're going to have is plenty more things to do. I think one of the biggest things that we could sell, that I don't know how much of it we do sell, is that we have an immersive Carnival experience where everybody in the country is in Carnival mode once you come in during that time. And you see it during the course of this week. I mean, we well past an hour and all we talk about so far is Carnival and Carnival activities. But my guy is charged. I wish him the best. I hope too much come out of this, you know what I mean? All right, you know what I mean? The law is law and so on, but there was no super spreader thing, and they're going to move on, because he would be one of the men who we're looking forward to that level of innovation in a short Carnival, or, you know, so where something different could happen. Let me move into some sadder news, right? I'm just going to tell, hey, wait, now we didn't even talk about the blackout. What are you doing during the blackout, boy? When was he blackout? You know, that would be a good excuse for me not to release the episode Tuesday. I was so tired today. I could have just blamed it on the blackout and said as he there is usually recording. Anyway, I was by, it's like the cool, you know, you had to say where it was and thing. I was by my spot Vanilla Bean up in Kunupia. I had my place, and when Karen gone, I said, she said, oh, she lost the internet. I saw you working. I said, nah, man. So I connect to my phone. Well, that lasts about a hot 5 minutes, thanks to B-Mobile. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you all holding out for an extra 5 minutes beyond the time currents went. But that was our ordeal. I mean, it kind of just showed you the vulnerability of your systems and the things that you're accustomed to and the things that you depend on. Because when current gone, everything else, that is it. You know? So we went right back to base. Well, at least I get a little chance to practice my little guitar. Like I say, I've been practicing and trying to get a little better. So it just have a time on this episode where almost every week I used to come and play quattro and sing song. I wonder if I could play a guitar and sing something, boy. I go use all this to practice a little bit. Sorry, yeah? But I need the practice. That was back. No, all right, no practice. I ain't ready. Give me about 3 weeks now. Because there's a song anyway, I go ahead and sing that first, and anytime I fumble in there, I in some trouble. So next week now, we go try that again. But there, the blackout was one thing. But moving on to some sad news, a blackout of sorts, where I saw this week where the Venezuelan family had to bury this little child that got shot by the Coast Guard, right? And I mean, I'm not going to make it a morbid thing. It's Carnival week. I ain't come to heavy nobody's spirit. But I just want to talk about it real quick because we have a tendency to develop a binary narrative. When I say, I don't know if it's the fact that we're in this internet age where it's only ones and zeros and now we starting to think in ones and zeros, but the nuance and the gray areas, we seem to want to eliminate it from everything that we do. And I find it to be real strange. So I saw in The Guardian last week, the Prime Minister had to come out and say this was soon after the tragic nature of the event happened, right? I mean, it was sad, as I had said when I first reported on it. But it's from Renuka Singh, and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is doubling down on his support of the nation's Coast Guard in the face of criticisms of its handling of the maritime incident in which 1-year-old Venezuelan child was killed and his mother wounded. I know you all remember this story, right? Because it's kind of fresh for everybody. Social media this week, you saw the heart-wrenching images and videos of the father having to look. Yeah, let me tell you something. You ever notice the smaller the casket, the heavier it is? Boy, listen, them small casket is something else, boy. It's not a nice thing to see. When you see them small casket, it's sometimes when you even know the people. I tell you plenty of my experiences in the cemetery in St. James now. When you're walking through the cemetery, you see funeral all the time. It gets to be a normal thing. But when you see they bring out this small casket, boy, it's hard. And you saw the father and other relatives in complete inconsolable grief around this casket. And this is what I mean when I say binary narrative. The comments on social media, and all I know it's my fault. I need to stop reading the comments. I really need to just stay out the comments for these kind of things because I don't know, boy. When these kind of things happen, I feel that at a visceral level. You know what I mean? So I had to stay out the comments. But the comments is either ones or zeros. It's either, there's so much condolences pour out to him, which is, I mean, I always say, when people say them kind of things, you can see as a parent too. Because, I mean, what, you break law, you ain't break law, you sneak in country, you ain't do thing right, who ram boats, who shoot. It's still not easy to lose a child. You know what I mean? I remember I went to a funeral, my aunt's funeral, Auntie Maria, so to my aunt. And I remember something stood out to me in that funeral when the priest, I believe it was Nolly Clark at the time, say, it's not easy for a parent to bury a child. And I guess for me, in my simple mind at that time, I never saw my grandmother as still a parent. You're just watching everybody as big. You're watching everybody old. Like all them big and all them is authoritarian and they want to tell you what to do and this and that. So you're not really watching that my aunt at her age, you know what I mean, is still seen as a child by her mother. And I saw it on my grandmother, how hard it is to bury a child. Up to that point, I never thought about that because you kind of only think about life as if you'll bury your parents. Think about how you take insurance, how you prepare your house, how you save your money. You always have it in your mind that you'll bury your parents. And even when you study to bury you, you always study with your wife or your husband or your children go bury you and those types of things, you know what I mean? And listen, the thought, most of the people who listening to this I know is people with children and things, so I ain't here to plant no seed or to speak no negativity into the atmosphere now, but when you look at a story like this, the thought of having to bury a 1-year-old child ain't right here. And if you went through that already, you know what it is we're talking about. So I don't understand where so many people could come out and pour out their condolences, but other people find it necessary to make the point at this point, when you're looking at a father having a complete breakdown in a church about his son. Where they go say, well, you was doing something illegal, you was putting your children at risk and this and that. I don't understand it. And there was just way too many of them comments, and I was thinking to myself, but listen, why? Why is it necessary? Matter of fact, let me close this door because I can't watch this for too long. But why is it necessary for you to, even if you think that, right? Why you feel the need to verbalize that? Not even just verbalize it among your friends where it's just words you say and it's in passing. You feel the need to put that in black and white. Why are we so interested in human beings as being right? You know, and that's what I mean by the binary narrative, the right versus wrong. I don't understand it. As I think you could be right and foolish at the same time, or you could be wrong and smart like hell. I'm not sure. I was glad that the day I started realizing that you could rid yourself of the need to be right in anybody else's eyes, I started to see the world real different. And I credit a fellow by the name of David Brizan for that. A fellow name, you call him Coach Brizan if you know him. And you listen to him talk. It's something else when you hear him talk. I mean, he ain't the easiest man to listen to. He ain't easy at all. But when you listen to what he's saying and stuff, he used to tell you about, was it useful? He used to ask that question all the time. He says not about who was wrong and who was right. Was it useful? Is it something that could help you? And I found like that little change, a slight change in the way I see things, helped me just see the world differently, but and relax a little bit in this idea of being right and wrong. Almost, when I look back at arguments I had with people when I wanted to be right and things, I almost feel ashamed that I even went down that road to try and back and forth with people. And sometimes in life, it ain't worth it, you know what I mean? And I just felt like this was one of these moments. Like, you really feel the need to say, yeah, it's good. So you basically saying it's good for you? You look for that? And then fast forward now, and I deliberately skip over it last week. I say I ain't going through this. But then I come back now to see news of the mother not being allowed to go to the funeral. And the binary narrative come back up again, the debate. Who right and who wrong and who this and who that and all this stupid because all they think. And they don't change no law for no Trini, but they change the law for them. All they want them change law for them Venny. Why she must think if she's a criminal, she has to be law. And it's like, oh my God. How you feel if your child was locked up? And I to be honest with you, I don't. Well, if this is a law in Trinidad or when you're in police custody, you can't go to the funeral of a loved one. I for changing that law, boy, that is not a nice thing. I don't know if people is hardened criminals. This woman, clearly she was trying to breach the border. She's no killer to say she's a danger to society and all them types of things. I mean, let that woman go to the child funeral. Like, what we doing? This is in the same week where I saw the law change to make murder a bailable offense, or basically to make all offenses bailable. Is that what happened? But I just found that was another interesting one, because my experience with jury duty, seeing somebody who was on a statutory rape charge, and I watching the accused as a old man and the victim, or the alleged victim, if you want to call it that, as a full woman. She never even come back. She didn't bother to testify that time passed and stuff. Not that anybody, I'm not justifying any of that, right? It's in your rights to, if you're wronged, you should get justice. Let me put it like that. But I just find like, if the man was in remand for 15 years, I don't know if he couldn't afford bail, I don't know what the situation was, but he was in remand for 15 years. So think of, if it's statutory, let's assume the person was 15. Now you're looking at somebody who's 30 years old. You're looking at somebody who lived as long as when that incident happened to them. They live out double the lifetime. So it's like, if we have a real efficient justice system where justice is served very, very quickly, whether you're right, wrong, innocent, or guilty, again, you're sentenced or you're getting released, then maybe I'm for the idea that murder could be remain, or we could have non-bail offenses if you're a threat to society, let me put it like that. But we have to remember that these people, you're accused, they could be innocent, you're accused, somebody had to prove. So the idea that if you could be in remand for as much as 15 years, then the idea of innocence until you're proven guilty is going out the door, because you're doing time regardless. So there's a number of cases apparently that when the case finally call and they do the thing, man coming out after time served, because you're doing, I mean, let's assume that you're in remand for 15 years, but the thing you're getting tried for is a maximum 6 years. Man, release that man after 6 years. But again, or I don't know that our prison system or system of remand is designed for reform. Like when you see some of the things happening, and I don't want to make no jail, no, I'm afraid. I don't know if I go survive. I can't make. Because the conditions in the jail, I saw a video going around this week about a man talking about the conditions and so on in the prison, and what they're getting to eat and cold tea, and somebody pouring a tea out of what looking like a bottle of oil, and go. I done do wrong already. Let me serve my time, and I don't believe in jails. I have to put that out there as well. But if that is what the society say, you put me in jail and thing, but there must be some dignity to it, man, and some intention or some system that could reform. Because if somebody in our society gone so wrong that they want to wrong others, wouldn't it be in the best interest of society to try to help that person see the error of their ways and change, so that we're looking at, you know what I mean? We looking at something different. So I mean that's all I have to say about that. I just find I will do a better job staying out of the comments so that we don't have to talk about this every time, because when I see it in the comments, like I can't take it. You know what I mean? So I went too long without playing a song. So I'm breaking from the norm again. Only realized I just fallen right back into old time Kaiso, because it's what I love, right? But Trinidad, for the first time with the crime situation and thing, I just started studying migrating and thing. But Christian and them play a song this week, and it kind of sums up the way I feel about Trinidad, because it could be blackout, it could be problems with Venezuela, and the carnival ain't going nice, whatever it might be. You see here is for me, yes?
They had this little nation going to the dogs. They had me like a drunk man drifting through a fog. And some people thought we would perish from the hard times, from the bad times. They said we should run away and vanish. Tell them they out of their mind. Tell them, mister, that nothing ain't go wrong with me.
If Trinidad burned down, we living in the ashes.
Tell them, sister, you put me here with luxury.
If Trinidad burned down, we living in the ashes.
Through the hard times
Yes?
and the glad times, through the sad times, even the mad times. Don't think nothing, we go bring it back like heaven.
If Trinidad burned down, we living in the ashes.
I know that something can't be really have to go. All the money in Miami, New York, Toronto, and some want to go back to London, to the surgery and the archive. But we people know and are accustomed how to struggle and how to survive. So tell them, mister, that nothing ain't go wrong with me.
If Trinidad burned down, we living in the ashes.
Tell them, sister, you put me here with luxury.
If Trinidad burned down, we living in the ashes.
Through the hard times
Yes?
and the glad times, through the sad times,
Even the mad times.
don't think nothing, we go bring it back like heaven.
If Trinidad burned down, we living in the ashes. So no matter how hard, that's for me, no matter how hard this thing get, no matter how different it looking, I'd rather be here. You know what I mean? So I hope everybody feeling the same way. Don't mind the darkness. If Trinidad blackout, we living in the ashes. Now on to some better news, right? Like we talk about the trip Trinidad burned down, we living here. And it ain't burning down because while the place blacking out, we have people blacking out people too. I want to salute to the soca, the female, what is it called? Women Soca Warriors. I want to salute to them because I wasn't paying no attention to this at all. I didn't even realize we are CONCACAF qualifiers going on for the Women's World Cup. And we beaten people. We beat Nicaragua 2-1. And now we come and beat Dominica. I believe it's 3-0. We beat Dominica. Let me pull this up because we're looking good in these streets. And I just missed this completely. So I want to salute to our Women's Soca Warrior team and all their journey to the World Cup. So it was 2-0 against Dominica and 2-1 against Nicaragua. So Kenwin Jones, I remember he's the coach of the women's national team. So I just want to, I'm going to call out these names real quick, right? Kamika Forbes, Rhea Belgrave, Liana Hines, Victoria Swift, Amaya Ellis, Asha James, Karen Forbes is the captain, Katie Johnson, Kayla McFarlane, Maria Francis Serrant, and Lauren Hutchinson, along with all the other subs. All they doing a great job. Salute to all the. I mean, why does is it just me missing this? Am I just not current with what's going on? But from now, I like the typical Trinidadian fan. From now on, I'll be paying close attention to what happened to the women's team. I believe that first game against Nicaragua was down here, I think. And I didn't even go on, nothing like that. I didn't even know this thing was there. That Nicaragua game was in the stadium on the 17th of February, which is a special day to a man like me to beat people. And apparently, I didn't know this at all. So Kenwin Jones, you're doing a great job with the women's national team. I remember people had some little issues, you know. They say if Kenwin is a coach, better we really defend because we go can't score and them kind of thing. But so far, we in 2 matches and we had 2 goals. I want to get to the groupings. This is directly from CONCACAF website, right? Because Jamaica looking in a good place too. They say Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago among 6 teams hoping to close out the February window in unbeaten fashion as 2022 CONCACAF Women's Qualifying continues on Sunday. So we did the job and we close out properly. We have an unbeaten international window. So we in a decent space. I saw the, let me tell you where the groups and everything are. Just in case you're finding out about this the first time like me. Because I believe our group is Guyana. Guyana leading the group, right? Because Guyana apparently beats up somebody 4-0. I believe they beat the same Dominican team 4-0, you know. But our group is Guyana. Let me get the right thing for you here. Our group is Guyana, Trinidad, well us, Nicaragua, Dominica, and Turks and Caicos is at the end of the group with no games won. They only play one, so they probably play in Nicaragua sometime soon, but they ain't win no games yet. So for Turks and Caicos is licks. All who Trini like to play these Turks and Caicosians, or they get licks coming and going. So if we already play Nicaragua and beat them, Dominica and beat them, we go beat Turks. That's a foregone conclusion. I guess Guyana, that's the head-to-head match there. That will be the closest for us because Guyana have two games played, 2 games won, just like us, right? But we score 4 goals and concede 1. You know how much Guyana score in 2 games? 11. You know how much they concede? None. So it's looking like Guyana is a tricky side against us here. But so far, Kenwin Jones is greater than Fenwick. So we're making the case very early for local coaches, right? As I want to salute Birdie and Barney podcast. They're soon to be back on track for always advocating for local coaches. And they have a new podcast on the scene coming very soon to a cinema near you. I want to salute my guys, Azola and Mongo and McFarlane. These boys coming out with a little podcast that is about the local views on football. Not just local football, but global football. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And first reach out to me. I'm proud to be involved. And I like the little banter that they have so far. So they're working out the things. We're going to launch with an episode very, very soon. But they're coming out. And it's interesting to hear their perspectives on local football and why the local football is where it is. But you know, also interesting to hear people argue about what side there is back and thing. Because I don't want to disclose nobody's age there. But a certain man is a Man City fan. And next one looking like he's an Arsenal fan. The next man is a Juventus fan, Italian league fans or clubs. If you're a club fan of an Italian team, them just had to defend the whole league about why the league is this and the league is that, and nobody don't want to hear no Italian league. It's about 6 only, and all they should just go in a room and argue with one another about that. But salute to the Women Warriors. We are paying attention now. If it's our games in the stadium are going, I really like missing Trinidad and Tobago play football, So our men is annoying me so much to watch the men's national team or the qualifying for the World Cup, and our team not there at all. And I mean, I thought Jamaica would do much better in the qualifying. I tell myself, you back Jamaica, but Jamaica looking like their chances, if they're not over, they're real slim for them to qualify for the next World Cup. But the women in Jamaica, they are doing great. They're in a group with Domrep, Bermuda, Cayman Islands, and Grenada. And so far, they also won 2 of the games. And, well, they play 2 and win 2. So they're also unbeaten, just like us, right? Now, the Dominican Republic in that group, right? And Dominican Republic scored 13 goals so far in their first 2 games, and they didn't concede none, right? Jamaica scored 10 and only conceded 1. So is some high scoring affairs in this Women's World Cup. But so far, so good. So Jamaica and Trinidad looking good. The only other Caribbean team is nobody. It's not looking good for nobody else. So it's Jamaica, Trinidad, and Guyana. So we hope that we following through and we have somebody to back when the World Cup come up. You know what I mean? The men done out, so it's the Women's World Cup this time. Now, given that we're on women's sports, right? Before I get out of here, I want to talk about something random if you go bear with me a little bit, right? Because I don't like responding to people on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I try to keep my thoughts to myself, you know what I mean? Especially when, you see, when you say something and I have a thought that counter to your thought, I had to kind of know you to say that, because some people be very, very offended when they make a post and you come to disagree with them. They say, you message me, you don't talk to me, but you disagree. I never really saw it that way, but you know what I mean? I thought it's just your opinion out there and it's that thing, but I don't do that no more because I don't want no problems with nobody. But for some strange reason, I see somebody put out something on Twitter. Now, I don't know why it does make me I don't even use Twitter that much, but I just felt like replying to it. And the person was saying something about having to be with somebody who had the same amount of money as you. I wonder if I could find it back, boy. I don't know why I get into this argument with people for, it's not to respond to nobody. All I go on Twitter for is to post my podcast and keep it pushing. So, I don't know how I end up in this, but and I want to give, oh God, well, I can't even say the name on the thing because it's good. What word could I use to replace this? Good Kitten, Pauline, right? Good Kitten is the person. I don't know this person from nowhere. But the post said you can never want a financially stable partner and you're broke. I don't know what's wrong with me, and I go on and say this. I just put balance, right? Because it sounds like if you and what balance is about, you know what I mean? You broke, I am, and we come together, you know what I mean? It sounds like a balanced relationship to me. And then, of course, people of a certain age group just respond with gifts and memes and all these different types of things. So, say balance can't pay the bills. And I think to myself, but how is the bill paying a problem? If I'm financially stable, I could pay the bills. And if you're financially stable, you could pay the bills. Like, balance can't pay the bills. So I say, I don't know why am I engaging in this conversation, huh? But I went on to say LOL. I try to make sure I say LOL because I don't want to offend nobody, and I've done in this already. So I'm trying to find my way out. So I say LOL. That's what the financially stable person there for. And then her response was equal enjoyment instead of a leech and a financially stable person. But hey, what works for you works for you. So that was my out of the conversation there already because it ain't going nowhere and it's not right or wrong. Remember, it's binary thing. So I want to get out of that real fast. So I don't know what's people's opinion about this, but I find it to be one of these stranger things that's happening in relationships or people who seek in relationships. Like, I know they say you have to be equally yoked and them kind of thing, right? But what is your opinion about people who you like, because if you're rich, you're financially stable, you should be looking for other people who are rich too. I saw celebrities talk a lot about this, because celebrities say that part of the reason they can't deal with the 9-to-5 fella is because the 9-to-5 fella don't understand the life of a celebrity. How much you have to travel, how much you have an entourage with you when you're traveling, how much, you have men as part of your team who doing makeup, who doing this, who, you know what I mean? It may be difficult for the average person to understand that, but I don't know. I have this philosophy. If me and you together and the bills getting paid, the bills getting paid. Like, why I need somebody who come in to bring the same things that I have is what you bring into the table. So I get with you. Both of you have the same set of strengths. It makes me wonder if we wouldn't have the same set of weaknesses, and it wouldn't be too balanced. That's all. And I just using it generally because I mean I get her point about the financially stable part and all them thing. And I had to assume that it's people who not in their 40s like me and thing, because as far as I'm concerned, when somebody had to pay the bills, yes, and once the bills not going unpaid, I don't really have an issue. And maybe I'm just saying that because is that a man thing? Or as fellas, would we be equally comfortable if I live in a house where the woman paying all the bills? I don't know half to offer, I know much to offer, and think, I know sometimes when the woman paying the bill is telling you what's thing, you know, like, you know, get big lazy sour self here on the couch all day, you know, woman is telling something. Woman is telling something where you can't tell them back, you know, you just want to eat that. But I just find it was interesting. You know what I mean? I'm glad I get out of that conversation because I don't want no problem. Because I don't see there's people now starting to like what she say and answer wise. I say, boy, let me find my old self out of this convo. But it's just one of them things that always interests me, like why we feel the need to and why the word leech. So because I don't have what you have and we get together, I turn leech immediately. I don't understand that concept at all. But maybe I'm too old for that, right? But I also saw a post along the same line. We did a women's issue. This is women's issues until the end of the episode. So fellas, this is just sit down and listen to women's issues, right? A bridging of mine by the name of Tristan Simurat. Salute him, guy. Oh God, I shouldn't call his whole name. A bridging of mine said, he make a post saying, women always say my father spoiled me. And as men, we automatically have to step our game up. I find that to be true. Because we will always, even as men, we discuss that I'm going to treat my daughter so good that any man who come around had to step up. You know what I mean? You know what is good treatment. You know how a man's supposed to behave. You know about people taking care of you. I mean, not to be chauvinistic or anything, but you know about paying for dinner, picking up the tab, opening the doors, you know, taking care of the person, you know. So that is something that I think is generally accepted. Like, I'm going to treat you so good that you can't pick up no waste, man. So I repeat what you say. Women always say, my father spoiled me. And as men, we automatically have to step up our game. He goes on to say, but when our mothers spoil us and we require the same energy, is I'm not your mother. Listen, he onto something here. The quote is by somebody named Spellman. I feel I just make up that, but he onto something. Because the idea that your father spoiled you, and I could never treat you no less than how your father treats you. You know what I mean? And if your father used to buy you flowers all the time and take you out and buy you things and, you know, treat you good, give you most attention and public displays of affection and whatever else all you like. When all you say all your father do that, we just had to automatically, we had to come good enough. But if I in a house and I say, listen, my mother used to cook 3-4 times a day, but I never wash my clothes, my mother. So how come when we mothers spoil, all ladies get to just say, oh, yeah, is that your mother? And all you're always looking for a mother. It's not your mother. And that. Anyway, I'm moving on. More women's issues. I just want to put out in the atmosphere, right? Because I find that was profound and prolific. So I just wanted to say that there. And I'd love all your opinion about this. And this is one of them things too. If you disagree with me, don't come and fight me in the comments, right? Just go along with it. Moving on to more women's issues, I would like to salute Jowelle De Souza for being added to the parliament of this country. Capacity as a UNC senator, from what I understand, you know what I mean? And a lot of the comments, I find this was one area where we was a little more mature in the comments than I had expected, because I expected it to go wild. I mean, it went a little bit wild. It went a little bit wild. Little bit. Right? But for the most part, people were supportive and saying, you know, it's a step forward for Trinidad in terms of our recognition of gender issues and so on. You know what I mean? We come across as very mature in the comments and so on. So I'd like to salute that. But as much as we salute that, I also saw something happen today, which I found to be, should I find this to be strange or is this the norm? I am seeing an Insta Twitter account. This is so only know for sure after this episode I'm going back on Twitter, right? Because Twitter is clearly not for me. I'm going to post the podcast and cut because her Instagram account, sorry, a Twitter account by the name of @Jowelle De Souza let off a series of tweets a couple of days ago, and the first one is @POTUS45, who I understand to be President Donald Trump. Dear President Trump, today history was made when Trinidad and Tobago government appointed the first transgender woman, Taylor Jowelle De Souza, to the parliament as a senator. Can you please give our people a congratulations and thank you? Don't laugh. Also, another tweet that followed that one saying, or came before, Dear Oprah, today my country made history as the first woman transgender, Mr. Taylor. I read NYC here, right? @Oprah. Dear Oprah, today my country made history as the first woman transgender, Mr. Taylor Jowelle De Souza, was made a senator in our parliament. Can you please send some congratulations for people of Trinidad and Tobago? I like that. To the press secretary of the United States, Dear Jen, the people of Trinidad and Tobago have just made history by appointing the first woman transgender, Miss Taylor Jowelle De Souza to the Senate. Can you please send some congratulations to our people? Thanks. This I can't make this up. This is our thing now. This is what we're doing. @Joe Biden, Dear President Biden, we the people of Trinidad and Tobago have made history as our government has appointed the first woman transgender to the Senate, Miss Taylor Jowelle De Souza. Can you send some Listen. First things first, right? I don't know what is the UNC obsession with American politics. I come and say it here all the time. Like, why we do this thing? Why she at the White House, UN human rights, Obama, Biden, Trump is like what does that do? But I realize that it's just that's what she's doing, because when I go back in Twitter, this is the 26th of July 2019. @Nicki Minaj, Dear Nicki, I am Joelle and I need some help. I live on the island of Trinidad and Tobago and we have a huge animal welfare problem and I need your help. We are lobbying the government to change the laws since they are old, since 1921, and all I ask for is your help. Where there was another one just like this to Michelle Obama. So it looked like whatever the cause is that Joel trying to stand up for or represent, because Joel's history in animal rights representation documented, right? That's something that she's been doing for the longest while in terms of representing for animals. I respect that a lot, because it's not something that I would have paid a whole lot of attention to. So it's good when you have activists who paying attention to it and could bring awareness to it and do a lot about it. And that has been what Joel has been about for a long time. I just don't understand, like, when you now get appointed to the Senate, if the focus is on getting, I don't know if it's a marketing thing or getting international recognition. I don't know, boy. It's one of the most awkward things I've seen. At a point in time, I tell myself it's not true. And I talking about this with the hope that is not true, because when I go on the page @Jowelle De Souza, oh no, actually it's right there. Sorry, it read like hell. It's at Vice President, by the press secretary to the White House, UN Human Rights. Is this Ted Cruz? Dr. Ted Ross. Let me see who this is. Tedros Adhanom. That's too long for me to think, but that's director of the WHO. All right, you have to congratulate Trinidad too. Listen, wait now. It's not just animal rights. I see one here on the 26th of, was 5 May or March? Was 5 May. @Hillary Clinton, Dear Miss Clinton, my country, Trinidad and Tobago, are in our second lockdown as we are in a spike. People are dying and going insane. We need vaccines since we have okay, so this is a trend. Salute to Joel. Congratulations on being the first transgender woman to be appointed to the... It's a great start. Anyway, it's time for me to get out of here now. I feel like I've been here forever. This feels like the longest episode I've ever done. I don't have a good way of gauging these episode lengths anymore because I'm doing them while I just go in and then when I'm done, I record. But I just want to salute to my country. I channeling the spirit of the NCC TUCO, Chris on and them who put on a great show. Julius Caesar, Jules Sobian, and them Penny, Shaq, everybody who putting on a show and making the culture, keeping the culture alive and doing what we do at the highest levels. I have that in mind, and because of that, I want to play a song that I hear on Chris on show that I have not heard in a long time, and I'm leaving here with this one. This man was also in the show this Sunday, you know, the Clash of the Tents and so on. Man coming to different color shoes and all these things. One of the greatest, they call him the Fourth King.
Are still the best in spite of all the unrest, but somebody loco booze when I watch CNN news.
Yes.
They say that the whole country burned down and Port of Spain is no more at home. I want to tell the world a lie, but Trinbago's flag is still flying high. But whereas in the world government overthrown and so much people get killed, whereas in the world government overthrown, big football match playing still. Whereas in the world government overthrown, your main police station burned down. Yes. Whereas in the world so much fire in tongue in St. James man drinking beer and rum. So if Trinidad ain't nice, then Trinidad is great. This country of my birth, Trinidad and Tobago, is the greatest island on earth. This country of my birth, Trinidad and Tobago, is the greatest island on earth. Tell them watch Iraq, Iran. All them had a confusion, but in we peace-loving nation, we solve we own situation. Anywhere else it's impossible. Government overthrown, that's big trouble. Tell CNN say the truth, but we and don't mistake Trinidad for Haiti. But whereas in the world government overthrown, and for your life you could still beg. Whereas in the world you want to kill a man and shoot him in the leg. Whereas in the world government overthrown and man petting in curfew. Whereas in the world you petting in curfew, you're drunk and police escorting you. So if Trinidad ain't nice, my Trinidad is great. This country of my birth, Trinidad and Tobago, is the greatest island on earth. This country of my birth, Trinidad and Tobago,
is the greatest country on earth. Bye. So listen, only enjoy the carnival week. This would be fete after fete after fete. It's not like that no more, but it still has some shows. Remember to tune into the TTT, the local stations have it, whether it is your home or abroad. Even if you're not seeing it on time, you could always go on the Facebook and thing, and they have it recorded. I know plenty of people moving off of Facebook, but remember there's a lot of traditional TV stations and so on. So you'll find them on Facebook. I will try to shed light on as much of them as possible. And this week, I wasn't sure about is if I know Kes had done some great shows over the last, I want to say 2 carnivals, if I remember right. So I was hoping that he have something coming up, but I wasn't seeing anything about it on the socials yet. And I know that the band lost a great one in Ricardo Rameshwa as well this year. So that must have put a spoke in any plans that they were having. But the man have a big song in that Jolene Mango, Jolene and the Sweet Mango, you know what I mean? So who knows if they're gonna come with something, and before the who knows if they're gonna come with something before the carnival is done. But outside of that, you're going to get a lot of the and Kes also have a song with Lord Nelson. Maybe I'll play that before I get out of here, just because I love Nello. But I'll keep an eye on all the different performances, and as much as I could get clips of them and play and direct it to them, I'll do it. I'll do the hard work of siphoning through all these things that are coming up. But let me leave you with Kes and Nello now, since it's come up. That wasn't the plan, but as I check in Kes socials here, now remember he have a song with Lord Nelson. All you know the Jolene already, right? The Jolene is a sweet song. Did I play this Kes and Lord Nelson last week? I can't remember, so you gotta hold it again, right? When all your names are big go after Nello, don't put him on no ladder, right? I just saying. But he had the greatness in him. 88 years old, it could be 89, and still strong on a track with Kes. So, having said that, I'm leaving y'all. It's crying time again, and I will see y'all next week. Stay safe in the carnival week.